Hi. So, Washington Post is doing the same thing. I'm just going to tweet this out. They are going to be doing some anti-Pedro Castillo propaganda, and Washington Post is, hi, John Y. Spinoza. Hi, Jamie Rowe. Hi, Shmoopy Shaboopy. Yeah, I'm going to try to not be as wordy and be more concise so that when people are not live streaming and watching the tape delay, it'll be less annoying for them. So let's just get down to this nonsense. So, this feels like a repeat of what happened with Evo Morales. Right around 2007, they did the same. Is it super laggy for anyone else? Hold on, Jamie. Let me see if it's on my end or your end. Can somebody say something if it's laggy or not? But it's the same kind of nonsense they did with Evo Morales. Okay, excellent. So, thank you so much, Rob. That's so kind of you. Okay. So with Evo Morales, they accused of him of being reverse racist against Bolivian Croatians, and yeah. If you're wondering, there's very few ways that Croatians got to Bolivia, and there's a very obvious way. But because this particular Croatian is very wealthy and he sues for defamation, I am going to say that Branko Marinkovic denies that his relatives were in the Ustazi, and he claims that his relatives were partisans who fought for Tito. But he was the head of the Unión Juvenil Cruceñista, and they're far right. So make what you will, but I'm not getting sued for defamation now. Okay. So this chaotic start, this is the same concern troll. So the idea is that they'll first try to make the leftists seem like a failure. And after a few months of him seeming like a failure, then the National Endowment for Democracy will be funding democracy promotion organizations that protest this failure. And then they'll talk about how unpopular he is and how much they're protesting peacefully. Of course, they're not actually protesting peacefully. They're violent death squads that are probably doing the worst things you can imagine. So this is step one of regime change propaganda. It's best to nip it in the bud when it's early because, well, it's much easier. Hello, Toasty Toast. So let's get started. At his swearing in ceremony on the 200th anniversary of the Peruvian independence last month, Peru's first campesino president condemned the racial. Okay, this is 100% true. Condemned the racial regime imposed by the conquistadors that continues to divide societies today. Except this is what I call quotation laundering. Quotation laundering is where you take a completely true statement and put quotations around it to make it seem false or like it's ridiculous. Like Evo Morales calls these armed extremist groups that are hunting swastikas Nazis. No, it's not. It's not. I mean, so that's what I call quotation laundering. I'll show you. I'll show you any Evo Morales article from 2008. Look at my thread. There's a lot of quotation laundering. He's like, Evo Morales calls this genocide, and then you're like, wait, they did mass murder indigenous people in Potosi, so genocide seems like an appropriate label, and so on and so forth. So it's quotation laundering. I don't know the answer to this question. It is an excellent question. I can check, but right now I don't know the answer. Okay, so but let's just click on what this why they have. Así fue. Okay, este gobierno. Okay, he said great things. Okay, so it's nonsense. Okay. To hammer the point home, Pedro Castillo used not to use the presidential residence known as the House of Pizarro after its founder. The house's founder, I hope, not Peru's founder, Francisco Pizarro, who led the subjugation of the Incas. The leftist president, a 51-year-old former school teacher from rural Peru, insisted that it was time to break the colonial symbol. That is correct. I don't see anything wrong with this. But now, just 2 weeks into his historical presidency, his appointment to senior government positions of Marxist hardliners implicated in some criminality have left this country that went through 3 presidents in 1 month last year, once again on a brink of a political meltdown. This is utter nonsense. Because let's just go and do some Googling on his cabinet and who he has. Okay. Oh, Escoa's crying. Escoa is like a regime. Escoa's crying, but let's go to their website. if somebody else is having this problem, I would like some help. I don't know how to fix it. I can start doing longer scheduling, pre-schedule, like wait 30 minutes. I don't know what I could do. Okay, and sorry if this is too small. Authoritarianism means that the US government is upset that you are not allowing them to privatize your resources. Okay, let's check. Okay, actually, I want to just, why can't we just like go, okay. Oh, okay, okay, I think okay, let's check. Which one should we do? Okay, let's just do Telesur because I'm guessing they will be the least biased, and I'll make it big enough for you guys, everyone. Sorry if I didn't make it big enough the last time. What's going on? This is weirdness from Telesur. I don't know how to get it. Okay. How do I end this Telesur ad? Okay, got it. Can you guys see now? I hope this is big enough. Okay, the health ministry will be led by Hernando Ceballos, who was some party. Juan Carrasco. Okay, let's see if they okay, so let's make a list. Hernando Ceballos. Does he have any criminal record? No. What about Juan? He's the health minister. And then there's Juan Carrasco, who is a prosecutor. Foreign Affairs is Héctor Bejar, who was a guerrilla fighter. That sounds okay. Will be the Judge Walter Ayala and Dina Boluarte. That sounds like nobody's a criminal there. Juan Castillo, education. Okay, that sounds great. Anay Durand also sounds great. The production ministry, Ivan Kisepe. Foreign trade ministry, Roberto Sanchez. They all sound great. Okay, so I don't know who's implicated in this criminality? No one. They just made it up. Okay, so now we'll go back to the democracy dying in darkness part. Yeah, I always use a Russian search engine, Yandex, when... Can you hear me now? Sorry, can you hear me now? What's going on? Can you hear me? Let me know if you can hear me. Can you hear me? Anyone hear me? Okay, I will say a word. Yuri Gagarin. Type that word to prove that you can hear it. It's an astronaut. Yuri Gagarin. I always use 3 search engines and VPN. I use Yandex, DuckDuckGo, and Google, and I VPN, and sometimes you'd be surprised at what you can get when you use other search engines. Yeah, I always do it. I hope this is big enough. Okay, it sounds like they just made this up. Okay. Chaos has sounded the starting gun on an existential battle between the executive and an antagonistic conservative dominated legislator, with increasing talk of either the impeachment of the president or the dissolution of the Congress. Let's talk about this later. Okay, you know why you can dissolve the Congress? It's because of President Alberto Fujimori, who was a far right wing president in the 90s. And basically, he was appointing different psychos. And back then, the not psychos were like, no, you can't appoint the psycho. So then he undemocratically created a constitution that allows the president to dissolve the Congress if he cannot get his nominees appointed after 2 or 3 tries. So, what they mean here is that the far right nut jobs who are in Congress, who are probably in the Lima group, are not going to appoint his cabinet. And yeah, so now they're the ones who made the rules. Now they're upset that the rules they have to live by the rules they made. So it's like they're upset, as Bain says, being cast out into the cold, dark world that we must all endure. So these far right nut jobs are upset that they have to live by the rules they made. That's what they mean. Okay, let's continue. The trigger came after the day after Castillo's inauguration, when he appointed 42-year-old Guido Bellido, a confrontational congressman from his Free Peru party, as a prime minister, a position which even many on the left says he is unfit. Who are these many? Probably no one, because if there was somebody, they would have said Bob from Cusco or Michael from Lima said blah, blah, blah. But they don't. So this is just nonsense. Bellido is a target of a criminal investigation for allegedly So, okay. Let's try this again. Okay. So Bellido is a target for defending terrorism with a criminal investigation by the far right president. So he probably tweeted out something. Okay. Okay. So basically, that's all we have. Like, he tweeted out something. Oh, thank you so much, Arlene Everest. I did not. Thank you so much. Yeah, he literally I bet you that was all he did, is tweeted out something. Let's see. Okay, the Shining Path. I don't know yet what caused them, but what I do know is that a few weeks ago I read an interview with Fidel Castro in the 1980s, and he said that he's never been in contact with the Shining Path in the 1980s. And I also know that it kind of does eerily resemble Operation, what's the one, Gladio from Italy, where the leftist terrorists did really, really strange things, but that's neither here nor there. He is also heavily okay. Now, where did he do this? I don't see a Facebook post where this sounds like a concern trolling from a right-wing newspaper, because if they should have linked it to the Facebook post, but I'm sure he said it. What if he did? I don't know. I don't care, because it's not your country and you're a Westerner, so put out. Yet Bellido, who was appointed only after it emerged that another front runner had impregnated a 14-year-old girl, is just the tip of the iceberg. This sounds like Pedro Castillo made a great decision. He decided not to appoint somebody who impregnated a 14-year-old girl for prime minister. If it was Obama, the Wall Street Journal would be like, Obama has early victory or something for not, I don't know, whatever. Like they would have framed it differently. So this sounds like he has great judgment here. Not appointing somebody who had raped a 14-year-old girl sounds like Pedro Castillo's already loads ahead of the previous presidents who may or may not have done worse with 14-year-old girls. So this sounds awesome, but they're framing it like something eerie. Hector Bihar, the 85-year-old, okay, again, truth laundering. I claim, okay, now I believe it, actually. It probably is. Okay, so Hector Bihar, who is re-established, thank God, claims Shining Path were the work of the CIA. If he said it, I believe him. He doesn't have a reason to lie. The defense minister, Walter Ayala, okay, let's check what happened here. Okay, mira, esa denuncia se han sembrado, I don't even, okay, you know, okay, who's this Erasmo Reina that has, I'm sorry, I'm looking at the clicking article and I realized, okay, this kind of sounds a little shady. He might have done it, but I don't know if he's done it or not, so I will investigate this. This part, I'm not 100% sure. Okay, to make matters worse, for his first 4 days in office, Castillo, who has yet to hold a news conference or even, of course, I would not allow you guys, you should not be allowed to even enter the country of Peru, but whatever, to attend, may have worked out of a private office loaned to him under loan. Okay, he's working out of an office. Okay, I don't see any. Okay. Oh my God, this is stupid. Okay, so Pedro Castillo originally did not want to move into the presidential palace, and then I guess he was working out of some random office, and then they just made up some crap, a fake controversy, and he's like, okay, I don't want to deal with this headache. Okay, I'll go back to the presidential palace and work off of my official office so that he doesn't have to deal with the controversy drummed up by the democracy dying killers in darkness. Just share all my work on all social media and tell your friends to do it then. That is the cool way to go. Just start sharing everything and say, everyone, please follow everyone. And it works really well. And I need help sharing on Reddit because every time I try to share, I get banned. Okay, let's continue. Some of Castillo's populist policies may come back to haunt him. Proposals to have ministerial salaries and to make military compulsive this sounds great, for young people who are neither working nor studying have been widely panned, including progressive social policy specialists. Sounds great. Okay. Yeah, if you're going to be a failson, it's great that they're going to make you join the military. Now, link it and John, give it to me. We'll watch it at the end. Okay, let's continue. Hugo Neupo, a development economist at Lima's grade think tank. Okay, let us look up what this Lima's grade think tank is. This is really, 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 really funny. This is hilarious. Okay. It sounds like some sort of psycho democracy development organization, probably funded by the NED. I will make a note of this and not get distracted. Warns that 2/3 of those lid. That's great. I don't see anything wrong. Okay. And that a draft could lead to the abuse of other indigenous and other vulnerable conscripts. Well, you know what? Fujimura went in and pulled out indigenous women's uteruses without anesthesia. So this can't be worse than that. And since you guys did not have a problem, let me just double check to see if Washington Post had a problem with Fujimura pulling out women's uteruses without anesthesia for sterilizations. Mm. I can't. Damn it. Okay, let's see if I can find it. Let's see what they had to say. Oh my. Okay, I found this. Give me a second. Oh yeah, we definitely engage in lots of whataboutism because whataboutism is also known as dialectical materialism and investigating the class character of news stations or news toilet papers or whatever the stupid thing is. Oh my God. So when somebody pulls out indigenous women's uteruses with what's the plural of uterus? Uteri or uteruses without anesthesia? He spellbounds the public and the pundit. A proposed draft for fail sons it's not even a law, it's a proposal by somebody, a proposed draft by fail sons to join the to be inscripted into the military. Oh my God, it could lead to the abuse of vulnerable people. These people are okay. Remember. So meanwhile, Castillo is insisting on pushing ahead with the plans to convene a constitutional assembly. Ramsey? So that was his campaign promise because by the way, check out our interview with Kyla that we had a few months ago. It sounds like decades ago now already. Yeah, that was his campaign promise to do a new constitutional assembly. And of course, he's not going to have support by the right-wing Congress after you rigged the election. And clearly, he has support amongst the general public because they voted to win him. And obviously, you don't have a constitutional path to making a new constitution because that's like the czar is not going to have a method to overthrow him. You have to make it up as you go along. So this is just them trying to paint him as I don't know. In Bolivia, what Pedro Castillo means by a constituent assembly is to have a Bolivia-style assembly where it was really cool. Like, there's a documentary about it. It's like it's really, really cool. What they did was they kind of they trickled down the constitution. I don't know how to say it. So first they had everyone would meet in these local village councils, the small council groups, and they would write the draft of the constitution. And then they'd elect a delegate, and the delegate would go up one level and they'd match it. If they didn't match, they'd bring it back down and rewrite it until they matched. And then they'd go one up level like that. And so if you go check out the Constitution, everyone in Bolivia like literally participated. Like there, if you can see some people in some towns who say, "Hey, I wrote this part. I wrote this part." So it was really cool, and that's what Pedro Castillo means. So it will be writing a new constitution with an assembly that comes from his constituency, a Bolivarian constitution. Bolivarian, yes, exactly. It, like I said, look it up. It's really cool. Okay. The move comes just as Peru, which has the world's highest COVID death toll per capita. This sounds like a failure of government and a great reason to get a new constitution, ready for a third wave. A challenge which critics say it sounds like he is handling it by getting a new constitution and having a new government that knows how to deal with COVID deaths. Okay. His wife is adorable. Compounding the intrigue, it is unclear whether the president is calling the shots in his government. Who cares who's calling the shots? At least it's not. Okay, so what they're upset about is that it's not a certain. No, I need a new. It's not a conglomeration of industrial Australians who are calling the shots. And for those who are slow, this is what I mean. Conglomeration of industrial Australians. Okay, let's continue. Okay, so it's on. Wait, aren't neurosurgeons supposed to be super smart? And isn't Cuba really good at training doctors? So he should. It sounds like a great idea to listen to his super smart mentor. Like it sounds like he should definitely listen to the super smart mentor who's been trained at one of the best medical institutions in the world. I don't see the problem. Okay. Ciceron chose Castillo as the party's presidential candidate after he himself was blocked from running by a corruption conviction. Did somebody, I hear the word lavajato. Now he faces investigations. Remember, he's facing investigations by whom? Not, it hasn't been tried and convicted, including in funding of Free Peru's election campaign through a sprawling bribery racket investigation. Remember how Fujimori like had these like weird ballot things that went on for months and months. So it's just for now, okay. Yet Sierron appears to be daily, albeit secretive contact with Castillo while also trolling. Okay, he mean tweets. Okay, and it doesn't seem that secretive if you know about it. Okay, let him mean tweet. Awesome. I don't see any problem with. Okay. And he accused Pedro Franque, the moderate economy minister. This sounds accurate. The appointment of Frank, whose politics are similar to that of Senator Bernie Sanders, like I said, was considered essentially to. Okay, wait a minute. When did the Washington Post suddenly start liking Bernie Sanders? Didn't they run 16 articles against him in 16 hours one day? Okay. Okay. Sierron has also been talking up the congressional votes of confidence due later this month on Castillo's cabinet as the collision of two worlds, the European and the Andean. Sounds accurate. As I said, they're crying that they have to abide by the rules they created. One explanation for Sierron's provocative tactics could be former, not current. So it sounds like this is nonsense. Okay, no, this sounds like he's telling the absolute 100% truth. Okay. Ciron's conviction means he cannot occupy a public office, including as a government advisor directly or indirectly, under the current constitution, which will change, of course. But as Abache said, his presence calls into question the seriousness of the government's commitment against terrorism and drug trafficking. Thank God. That means that DEA agents won't be doing any coups like against him. And it's their country, so if they want to traffic drugs in their if they want to, he's the president, he can do whatever he wants. Okay. And terrorism, come on, don't be a joke. Richard Arce, a former congressman and one of the president's sharpest critics, sharpest from the left, said the president and his party need to understand that their narrow election victory was largely due to Peruvians' dislike of Keiko Fujimori, Castillo's corruption-tainted runoff opponent, who's now in prison. Okay, and that he's still the president, and he can still do whatever he wants. And if he wants to create a new constitution, he's the president. Castillo needs he's already the president, and you sound like you have sour grapes. Some of his decisions have been incomprehensible. Which ones? So far, they all sound like great decisions to me. He has raised a lot of expectations among the poor. It would be a tragedy if he did not complete his term. Like, is this a death threat? Are they threatening to shoot him? I don't know. This is a little... Yeah, are they planning on assassinating him, sending him... This feels a little death threaty. And the Washington Post should not be carrying death threats to the president of Peru. Yeah, I know this. I tend not to take this nonsense seriously because I've seen this with Evo Morales. Like, I have a really so. Like I said, I've seen this with Maduro, Hugo Chavez. We've seen this over and over and over, and it's utter nonsense. Exactly. So these will be the first step. And then what will happen? So the first, like, it's all written in this Gene Sharp book about how to coup. Like, it's like from transition from dictator to democracy. Literally, he tells you how he coups. And the first one is identifying an already existing opposition and then go whoosh with funding. And then make up fake protests and do press, like I said, there's a manual on how to coup. And this is not going to be a weekly thing. This is every time I see every time I see a lie about Pedro Castillo, I'm doing this because I know what they did with Evo Morales. I know what they tried to do with Maduro, Hugo Chavez, Cristina Kirchner, Lula. I am not letting that happen again. So at least you guys are going to be aware. Yeah. Every time I see an article against Pedro Castillo, I'm going to be doing an impromptu stream. Because, like I said, I did it last time, and I'm not letting this. Yeah, because, I mean, otherwise, like, Peru, it was the hardest to crack. Well, no. It's going to get worse. Much, much, much worse. There's going to be, like, thousands will die. The right-wing death squad, it will be horrible. It will be a bloodbath. So this is just the start. It'll be very, very, very bad. And wait, okay, so Washington Post is lying about that too. That sounds great. No, because I don't say. I read, I try to learn. So what's 52%, and what's wrong with the other 48%? They need to be punched in the face, all of them. I don't want to know. Now, what'll happen? pin is the robot. Okay, so I hope this was a short stream, mostly because I saw this and I'm like, oh my God, regime change propaganda. I'm very, very sensitive about regime change propaganda because I've seen this uh thousands of times. I mean, it's the same nonsense over. Oh, by the way, speaking of regime change propaganda, we just have our new episode out on historically. It is called What is the Color of Your Revolution? So check that out. We have Angelo Giuliano, who's going to talk to us about Myanmar and what happened there, and how Aung San Suu Kyi was always a Western puppet. And yeah, and I'm getting to the Philippines soon, very soon. We have a very special guest perhaps coming, so I don't want to jinx it. And yeah, oh yeah, and you're 100% right. Okay, sorry. Lumpia kept on saying that Leni Robredo, the vice president, was a regime change dupe, and I believed her. I just did not have proof. But then, like, I did like some searches, and her entire foundation for her dead husband was started by the NED. So I'm like, then everything started to click. She also, yeah. So yeah. So we're getting there. Yeah, she basically ran for Congress after her husband died, like right over his grave. She was like, I don't know. Should I? Is it really? What does he say? That's link me to the. Okay, link me to the video, and I will see. Anyways, with that, please check out our episode. Please like, subscribe, donate, and do all the good things, and refrain from doing bad things. With that, I will say auf Wiedersehen. And I really need to think of a better greeting than this, but I can't.